flight.
Okay.
It'll involve an aircraft.
All right. Okay, we're 5 seconds into it. I'm going to talk real fast. If Facebook has dropped us on the last 9 consecutive shows, after you can go to YouTube and watch the episode in its entirety, and there it goes. It just dropped one of them, and it'll drop another one here in a second.
That's so
And X 6 of the last 9. So I'm gonna look at. I just upgraded my mom's internet, even though I'm going to be using the Starlink at the other place, but I just upgraded to the highest speed, and it still happens. So I don't know. It could be the app, could be the energy. I don't. It could be the algorithms.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Cutting it off 5 minutes in, I don't know if that feels like censorship. I can't tell.
I don't know. It's happened before, but it's never happened for this long of a period. But it does line up with when I started doing shows with my mom's. So I've got to go over and get that other studio set up. But anyway, tomorrow I'll probably start using a different method. I might even go back to Zoom, even though they're expensive as hell. But what's money? Money's nothing. All right, so we have our friends back here. The exemplifying polarity, masculine, feminine, Earth, galactic, glasses, the types of glasses and such. So I'm gonna do some stuff over here for my mom. So I'll keep an eye. I'll have my phone with me, but I'll keep an eye.
I'll text you if. Yeah,
that's
I'll
right. You got my number.
Yeah,
Anything happens, but yeah, I will be here, and I'll be watching. And thank you guys for showing up every week. I really appreciate it, and I know everybody else does. You guys have a great show. I'm going to sit back and get some popcorn and watch it.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks, Chad.
All right, y'all take care.
You too. Thanks for showing up, he says. What else are we going to do? I mean, I don't mean that in a dismissive, crappy way. I mean that in a, oh my God way.
I mean, we could be having a birthday party or something.
I didn't do anything for my birthday. I cleaned and organized, and I dog sat. Well, I mean, I'm dog sitting now until Thursday. And on Easter, which I do not celebrate, I had my sister's dog.
So you're not quite useless for them yet?
No. I'll watch anybody's dogs. It's sad, though, because it's my dear friend who I've loved for so long, and she said, I'd like to spend time with you, too. And I'm like, nah, thanks. I'll just take your dog. And it's not against her. But it's literally, that's the way I feel. I'm like, I'll take anybody's dogs. Just don't make me hang around with humans right now.
Right.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a projection or a mirror of myself or whatever, but it's, yuck.
Well, it's uncomfortable being human right now, I think.
It's very uncomfortable right now.
It makes sense that just using a projection to be everywhere because it just feels uncomfortable. Yeah. Which makes sense because there's a big change playing out. So being, I don't know how to put it, out of sorts internally, particularly when it's the change is just like what a human is.
Yeah, it's all encompassing. It's so complete. Like when people are talking about this, I'm like, okay, this is a full paradigm shift. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, it took me really 3 years to understand what you meant by that. Listening to you talk about it all these years, I didn't know. So I just keep explaining it over and over again. I still can't really wrap my head around it. at all. I just know the energies are bonkers, and everyone I talk to, Mike, Sam, you, when I actually talk to you, and like Lynn's, it's yeah, I know. I'm being relentless.
It's
It's
good. I
just
need it.
it's just so much right now, and everything that happens, like the dog, the doorbell rang and the dog went apeshit, and I ran to let the person in, and I tripped and fell, boom, right on my face, on my knees, like my whole body hurt for days, right?
Jesus.
And then my fridge stopped working, the whole thing. Just no freezer, no fridge. Like the energy's intense. Like I do not see anything in the physical as not being a product of the spiritual first. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's
Just got to
what
get.
is trying. Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you. It's that lag. It's like what is so Kyle Cease had this thing where he quoted Michael Beckwith, and he'd say, "What is trying to emerge?" And so in every single situation I have, falling down on the ground, and I fell hard. You should see my knees. Oh, they're awful. But I fell hard, and like the fridge just like died. And okay, what is trying to emerge? Well, then I try and reframe it from this giant pain in the ass. Like from midnight to 1 in the morning, I was carrying everything from my fridge and freezer downstairs to my mom's fridge and freezer. And I said to her, I said, and we're driving to Texas in a couple of weeks. And I said, you know what? I don't think I'm going to bring my stuff back upstairs, even when the fridge gets repaired, if it gets repaired, unless I have to buy a new one. Because while we're away, our contractor is putting in a new floor. And like, he'd have to move stuff, and it's heavy. Like, I reframed this broken, busted fridge to, well, isn't that convenient getting me ready for going away? Right?
Aha.
Like
Brilliant.
everything, yeah, right? Like everything that happens. Like my son called me today. We talked for an hour and 40 minutes because he had like a little disagreement with my brother, his uncle, and they're very close. And so we reframed his little tiff with my brother to that inspired an hour and 40-minute call between me and Liam. So, right, there's reasons in everything.
Totally. And that exercise on its own, that because you wanted to know, for instance, this thing going away, going to Confluence,
Yep.
firstly, but I mean, bigger picture stuff like how do you deal with those situations where you feel like you should, but you just don't want to? Which part of you doesn't want to, and which part of you feels like you should? How do you get it around the right way? And that's not something you can just sort of
You
resolve in your
can't,
head first. You've got to live through it.
no, no. Liam and I, on our conversation, we talked about that, about, why he doesn't want to do this thing with my brother, his uncle, and like doing things you don't want to do out of obligation and duty and all that history and nonsense. And I don't know. We talked about the importance of sovereignty, and that famous quote of, you can do nothing for me but work on yourself, and I can do nothing for you but work on myself. And like Liam really got all of it. Like all the concepts I touched on, even the woo ones, even what's coming for humanity in the coming, however many months or whatever. Get the show on the road already. Like he doesn't want to talk about that stuff, so he won't really talk about it. But basically I said, Liam, you have a mom who had an awakening, And so I'm telling you, you don't have to believe that something is coming. You don't have to believe that your world's going to be turned upside down. You do not have to believe it, but you, it would serve you well to remember you have a mom who you can ask questions of, a mom who knows the stuff that's coming. It was so cool. It was
Did
so
he catch
cool.
that?
Oh, there's Roseanne. Yeah, he did. He doesn't. He very politely ignores the things he doesn't want to talk about.
Sounds like my son.
Roseanne and Mike. Roseanne and Mike are very happy to hear that I was talking to Liam. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was an
Hi,
hour and
Roseanne.
40 minutes, you guys. Sorry. Say it again, Gareth.
I said, hi, Roseanne. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone. Too. Katie will tell me
Patty,
who do we have this
Teresa.
one? Teresa.
Yeah. My mom. Yeah. So you've
The
been
Aussie Young
AWOL
American
this
Club.
week. Talk about it.
Say that again. You what?
You've been AWOL this week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? We were talking about it earlier. Well, that's the thing. This is real. This transition's real. And who are you? And I've had this thing going on in my family system since I can remember, since I was a kid. But it's in my family, it's very, well, it's English. So there's a lot of, it's kind of cold and down the father line, it's like there's this absence. My son's commenting on it, like, where are all the Jenkins men? Like, and it's all been sitting there in the background. And I remember going through stages with it, like one period years ago after my wife and I met, we were doing workshops. Whoops. It came up as defeated, like you're coming through my family, through my dad's side, that there's this mindset around life which named itself in a system constellation workshop in 97, I think, or it might have been later than that, I can't remember now, as defeated. And it's like the feeling you go into, you feel optimistic, but you've got this part of you in the background saying it'll never work. That
Yep.
feeling that it won't work, and you kind of keep them separate. So we keep on going into this optimism about trying to feel it, and then having this sort of sense of futility behind it that we're trying to stay away from. And it feels like that gap's closing for whatever version of it people have got. It feels like that because what I realised is the thing is when you're at a point in your life where you've transformed a lot of things, and I've changed a lot of things over the last 20 years, particularly working in 3D, being 5D, conscious 5D, and working 3D, working a job, living a life that just don't work. They're designed not to work. But so when you give your life to, let's say, give your free will back to source and let life take you, you're going to you give up a lot of that 3D, connecting to 3D in a way that works. It looks the opposite actually, because you've got to connect to 3D in a way that works from a spiritual point of view, not in 3D from just a 3D point of view, and they're very different. So you take
Mm-hmm.
on a lot, you don't know why necessarily each step has to be the way it is. You're just going on faith, and there's something in you that's changing when you do that. But you pay a price as well. In the short term, you give up being successful out there in the 3D world, and that plays on your consciousness and the families. Well, we've had no help from my family. My family is quite wealthy, has been pretty wealthy, and all of the inheritances that have come through the family all got stopped at my parents. That was it. We got zero help because you look like you're doing the wrong thing. So any problems that you incur along the way are because you're going the wrong way, not because you
Yeah,
need help.
so there's this punitive response to that where you're going the wrong way. Why would I support you? You should be able to do this. If you just went this direction, if you just did things this way, you'd be fine. You wouldn't need my
You
help.
wouldn't have this problem. So therefore, I'm going to let you learn your lesson. Or step
Yeah.
back, and there's a lot involved in all of that with families as well. But just on an individual basis, the whole thing's based on insecurity and self doubt. So if you're stepping into the world you were creating for yourself and out of the world you know, straight away you got to deal with this insecurity. So there's that
Yep.
part of you, that futility. It's a way of cutting out of the possibility that you'll fail, because if you step into take that final step out into the world and it doesn't work, you've got nowhere to go now, because you've always got this sort of moment that's coming in that you're moving into. There's never a
Right.
crunch time for that feeling of insecurity. So at some point in stepping through that doorway, you've got to meet that feeling. And I think that's been playing out for people this year. And if it hasn't yet, it's tough too, because hard to put words to. For me, people have been asking me, "Are you all right?" And all I can say is yes and no, because the words aren't there. It's old, and it's not even ours. A lot of it's family system stuff. It's coming from other people. It's coming from us. It's coming from a few things, but
Well, yeah,
insecurity.
I think I mentioned that to you when you were describing that defeated feeling and the kind of the safety or the comfort in not doing the thing versus failing at doing the thing. And I said, I think that's a lot of that's on my mom's side. Because like, my sister pointed this out to me, like, you would tell mom, this grand idea, and she'd be like, oh, I don't know. Right? Like with everything. I mean, you'd tell her anything. Well, I don't know. And it's like, and she wasn't trying to be, she was being cautious, right? And careful, and also doubting and defeatist. Like, I don't know if that's because she lost her parents so young. She was 10 when she lost her dad, and 24, I think, when she lost her mom, pregnant with her first child. Like, there's so much trauma there. It's not even funny, but like, you can understand the defeatist. So while it's maybe on your father's side for you, I think it's my mother's for me.
Similar thing, but I mean, usually it's when you're right on the edge of taking a step and transforming something deep in your life and coming to a deep, truer sense of who you are, which means letting go of this doubt. That
So it
moment's
gets
where all the
louder.
it gets louder, and the stress gets there, and that's when the patterns will come resurface. So you just when you're about to get there, you cut out, you do something. But this affects men really particularly, I think. So they can be
Well, yeah,
childish, perhaps.
you're the providers, you're the strong, you're the masculine, you're the structure, right? So, of course, that would hit you harder.
And it comes, expresses differently. There's the masculine version versus the feminine version. I think it will probably show up differently. It's the same thing, but women are more emotionally aware intrinsically, just because of the nature of the feminine,
Yeah.
and the men are not as emotionally aware. So it's in, you can't generalize, and that has to change.
No.
The masculine connecting properly to the feminine principle universally is that's what that's a huge part of the transition. So it's going to hit people differently, but it's all in the belief system, and it's not in reality. So that's really all it takes, being put in situations that show you the reality and kiss goodbye to the theory. So, but yeah, men tend to kind of have behavioural patterns or cut out. They'll step back from, in some way, going around in circles is their version of going around in circles around the same spot, never really changing something. And I think
I
this
think
Easter's been a good.
I think energetically as well, humanity is coming into the remembrance or the awareness of their power. And this is not something any of us are used to. We're kind of used to being in powerless mode. So, yeah, so I think like many of us are just, I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but I mean, I have a lot of friends who are in this, I don't know, this discomfort, this urgency to do nothing, this big hurry for what? Like, we're in this chrysalis stage, we don't know where we're going. We're everything we were is dying, falling off, going away. We don't have the blueprint, and it's getting louder. This paradigm shift is getting louder as, everything on the external looks chaotic and absolutely falling apart, but it's only the stuff that needs to fall apart that's falling apart. But us coming into a place of power, of understanding our power, it's no easy thing.
No, again, you got to experience it. You're kind of going through a bit of this whole failure thing, succeeding and failing in life. What is that? Who are we? What is life? How do you measure it? There's a lot.
How do
There's a
you
lot
measure
around
it?
it, but the deep-seated emotional stuff is that we aren't quite up to it. So we've all been aiming towards something. What wakes people up? The fact that life doesn't work. So you want something in whatever way you feel that. So
Yeah.
we're looking to transform something, and we're doing a lot of different things to kind of help us move to that point. And at some point, realizing that transformation means transforming self doubt, because that's the
Yeah.
engine room behind the problem that creates
Yeah, and it
this sort
can't
of
go
lie.
along. It can't go forward with us.
Yeah. You see what, you like that example with your mum, well, I don't know. It kind of takes that and goes "Oof," with it to keep it small means we don't the threat to our insecurity is less. Sense of security is less. So that's what all the behavior patterns are about. Addictions to substances
Yeah.
but just it can be food. It
Just
can be just
porn, alcohol, cigarettes, food, whatever.
cigarettes.
I was I was talking to I was sharing quite a bit with Liam too about, his generation really being hammered with like the digitization and the screens and the
Mm.
toxins and the chemicals from the sky and the shit chemicals in the water. Like, I was telling him all this. I'm like, it's because you are like lighter density. You don't carry the karmic weight that we all do, older than you. And he said
Mm.
something like, yeah, my friends and I, we kind of, and then we touched on politics, there not being a left and a right. Like, I was very clear about that, while also saying the left have gone bonkers. And he's like, well, wait a minute, any extremism is bonkers, and the Republicans with their war and their guns. I'm like, oh God, that just means you're paying attention to the news. Like, you're listening, but then again, that means I am too. But no, it doesn't, because that's not what you see on the news. You do not see, whatever.
Well,
But
you've got a
anyway,
question.
I've what?
You got a question mark.
Yeah,
You got a question
I
mark
have
when you watch it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he was like, my friends and I know this. And I'm like, oh, good, Liam. That's fantastic. I am so glad you know this, because we were talking about, not going to the eye doctor anymore, not being on medications, the body's ability to heal itself and all this stuff. And, he's silent through all of this stuff, but he can't not hear what I've said as things unfold out there. But he's a stubborn one. He kept coming back to like ways I've been or things I've said in the past. And I'm like, dude, the past is, I'm trying to work on that every single day. I said, Liam, do you remember how close we were? I'm like, yeah, well, I'd like to forget, because that's in the past and it's clearly not now.
Ooh.
And he was so funny. He was so funny. He's like, Mom, I think we've been doing okay. I'm like, well, you might think that, but I do not. I do not. And I illustrated why I don't. And he's like, okay, fair enough. Everything I said, he didn't really argue. he was really, I don't know. It was an interesting. I mean, it lasted for an hour and 40 minutes.
Right.
He was like able to hear or keep the dialogue going through all of my woo. It was really nice. He didn't like rush to get off the phone. He answered the phone right away. It was like, wow, like I must be doing some next level work, energetically for him to be responding like that.
Yeah, and it does show up. Like it does show up. The work you
Well, that's
do.
what I said to you. The course that you're doing affected how you are this week.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. This course, me studying this course, it's brought up a lot of. It's wrapping up a lot, and it's brought up a lot in that for that reason. It's like at some point in the transition, everything we've lived up until from birth up until that point is included in the process of transitioning, and at some point you connect to that because the closer you get to that pivot point where the transition actually flips. There's ramifications that play out. There's a lead up process that happens into that moment, and there's ramifications that reverberate out from it. But at some point, there's a moment where it goes click. I mean, think of a moment where you have an epiphany. You've been struggling with a problem that's been a bit abstract. You've been playing around with it for a while, and then suddenly it just goes click. So you have a moment where it all condenses into one moment. So when you're talking about your life purpose, everything you've lived through, all coming to a kind of resolution or all coming into a single context that does make it work, does make it make sense. You're going to feel the full amount of it. And that's what, for me, doing this course is about because it's secondary education, like tertiary education, which is something I've stayed away from.
I know.
For all sorts of reasons. I'm married to a teacher whose parents were teachers, and that was deliberate. So there's a lot about my programming and her programming, for instance, that comes from the same problem from opposite sides that clicks together. And yeah, I think for a lot of people this Easter, something there's some kind of big turning point playing out. Like I said, that moment where I think a lot of people who have been on this path for a long time or been on this path who are serious, like, the question is, what's the truth? Like at the base level, you can ask it. There's nothing left below the layer you've asked it at. What's the real truth? If you've gone there, then you're at the leading edge
That
of this
whole zero
transition.
point thing. That whole
I mean,
zero
the whole
point thing. Yeah, Todd brought that up on his video today. That reminds me. So not only Easter on Sunday, but 4 days prior was the journey to the moon. There
I'm
are
April
all these
Fool's.
wonderful there are all these wonderful memes going round about, okay, here's the real photograph of the moon, and it's a soft tortilla. And then somebody comments, is that a mission tortilla? Because mission tortillas are the good tortillas. I think they're gluten-free and probably like the best you could do in a tortilla. So is that a mission tortilla? Oh, the humor around that whole moon thing is so funny. And so much of it is encouraging that nobody paid any attention to it. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
So funny.
it's so funny, isn't it? It's like everything they're doing isn't working. There's an X factor playing out. I think in each of our lives and in the world, there's an X factor playing out that no one could plan for. No
No,
one could plan for it.
No,
And it's
even when you know the prophecies, even when you have read the channeled texts like Only
mhm,
Planet of Choice, even when you know the Bible, because a lot of the biblical stuff has happened as well. Like a lot of the stuff has happened. Like even when you have an understanding and awareness of those prophecies, you can't prepare for this.
no,
Absolutely not.
no, no.
This is, yeah, this is like
That's the thing, and
crazy.
that those are the interference have got the same problem, and they're managing an X factor that they can't really get a handle on, and they're being out psyoped in that, and that's taking us places. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I'll keep coming back to that insecurity in your own life. And for me, like one, and this is I think a big problem for a lot of us. For me personally, I've had to keep very, very quiet about all
All
of
your
this
life.
all my life. I've had to get. I'm used to holding it in, and at some point that doesn't serve you because it's a strategy against a problem that is itself being dissolved. And at some point in that problem dissolving, us stepping in, pulling that veil off
Yeah.
and stepping into the world as we are is a big part of it. But supporting each other in kind of being open about the strategies we've used to deal with that reality. That's a big one too. And I think we can all help each other with that. And that's something none of us are really used to. So when someone in a group you're connected to asks you if you're all right, and you know that you've had this problem, you've got to edit yourself, and that's difficult when you're dealing with insecurity at this level, and knowing that your purpose and this insecurity can't coexist, and everything you've done in your life before that, the patterns that you've been using, and there's a lot of shame and guilt involved in this too, can be. Um,
Hmm.
Need to be brought into the open because everything that's hidden will be revealed. It works for you when you're willing to do that or when you're doing that. And giving yourself to the transition does that. It brings out everything that you've been hiding or keeping away from within you and how you relate to the world. It brings it up into the surface. So that resistance to it happening is a part of it.
Right. But the understanding that you've given it to God, you've given it to Tom, and the inspiration will hit. I was talking to you earlier about Mike and I had said this. Like we have this like urgency to get things done now. But it's not like we're on some real time frame or some real time crunch, but we're in this urgency to get these things done now. And I see out in the world, like all these people trying to do all these things, but it's just kind of this failed attempt to avoid what they're feeling. And so, and like, even that, like, even I'm not in all the community calls I'm on, I'm on a lot of Zoom calls, like, this transition is my full-time job right now, and I'm blessed that it's that way, absolutely. But like even on the calls, I shouldn't say I can't be, I can do whatever the hell I want, but I do not feel the freedom to be myself, to say what I'm feeling in those circles that are supposed to be the safest circles,
Hmm.
right? Like
That's what
there's
that's what I'm
still
talking about.
that, yeah, that's exactly what you're talking about. There's still that, I don't know, that carefulness. But the beauty is when you give it all over to Source, God, Tom, whatever you want to call it, that comes to you. It just happens. You don't
Hmm.
make it happen. Like, I
No,
know
that's the
you're a little
beauty.
anxious about speaking publicly or doing more and getting more and da, 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 da. But I think God's going to bring that right to you at the perfect time. It's just
Oh
going to
yeah,
happen.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's this sort of new area that's opening up with people who've been processing all of this. I think it is time to this year that we can because look, you're speaking, you're trying to answer questions on a level that you've never really spoken from before as well. So there's that. You can't just come up with an answer to, are you okay, with the feeling a lot of us have, because we don't really have the words for it yet. But getting the words and being able to be open with each other, there's a spirit to it. There's a spirit to what's needed now about this that hasn't really had its time before, hasn't been
No.
ready, hasn't been the right time. But I think that's shifting now. There are more people who are kind of,
Over it.
need to, yeah, need to be vulnerable with a. I've heard this. A lot of people say this. They're just looking for their tribe or their group or their crew. That feeling of, and I think there's a need around this question, being who we are really, connecting to that hasn't really been there before. So that's
Well,
part of it.
Todd touched on that a little bit with the video he made today in his car, about giving a voice to everybody, letting everybody tell their story, because everybody needs to hear everybody's story. For you are me and I am you, right? They are we and we are they, and all that. Um,
All
all that. I was just going to say something and I lost it.
that. Where were we? You lost it.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter. It's
the
this is
spirit hasn't
all.
been there.
Hmm.
The spirit of this problem hasn't been there before, like it is, and we can speak. We're trying to
Yeah, this
describe
is
something that
all
hasn't
new
been.
ground.
It is. It hasn't really
Yeah,
happened before. So we're trying to describe the feeling of being going through a process that hasn't really happened before. And there's something, well, when the actuaries described it as the great coming together, that side of the equation, there were a lot. I knew there were a lot of dimensions to it, because word plays a big part of how Tom and the actuaries speak, phonetics and wordplay, and leaving it open, and it's always multidimensional, simple, the great coming together. But it clicking within us, but also us talking with each other about what's clicking. Big part of the fact that we can put words to is because we're in a social situation where we're trying to put words to it, and
right.
that hasn't happened properly before. There's a
No.
feeling of kind of group mentality that we're used to adopting
Yes.
that doesn't
Yes.
work.
And there's still that idolatry, that reverence for those with a big following. Like the boots on the ground is what matters right now. The
It is.
people in this chat, on all of Soulogy's calls, like that's what matters right now. Not that none of it doesn't matter or none of it has importance or a part to play, but I don't know. I'm a little tired of hearing from people who have it all together. I like to hear from the people who
Don't.
sob like I do.
Yeah, who've lived it. Because, yeah, well, you're right. It's boots on the ground. It's important because in the end, the transition is a transformation of our point of view. And that happens at the ordinary street level. That doesn't happen up top. That's always been there. It's the general population's point of view shifting. That's where the real work is, and and it's got to start somewhere. And that's something the Arcturian said once. I was really on my knees in 2017, I think, something like that. And I said, "Why us?" And they said someone had to be first. So for all of us in this gap, where the change hasn't happened yet, except within us.
Yeah.
What change,
Yeah.
exactly? What does it mean, and where's it heading, and
And
getting
when's it
clear
going to
about
get
that.
a little easier? When's it going to feel a little more comfortable? I mean, I guess war is not comfortable. That's another thing people keep saying. It's like it's as if we're whining. I'm not intending to whine. I'm intending to share how the hell I feel during this. And it is not good. But again, it's not a good or a bad thing, right? I mean, don't those things just pretty much cancel each other out in this new realm? Like it's not a thing. Right.
And
Okay. Yeah.
that's part of the problem we've got. It's part of the solution we've got. I think, like when you asked me, when was it this morning? Oh God, time, I don't even know anymore. If I was okay, or are you all right? And I said yes and no. And that was all
Yeah.
I could say, really. And I've been doing this a bloody long time, but I knew it was okay to feel that way because there was something deep down that Tom told me, God, not in the 90s, it's important to name it. So this spirit that's coming out that hasn't been named before, it's within us, and there's a veil in front of it, which is our insecurity. And there's a name that insecurity layer has because it was a decision we made about ourselves in relationship to life at a certain particular point. So it had a name, a feeling tone, a strategy, a name. There was a word or a couple of words that named that moment. And so when you let it come up to the surface and you name it,
Yeah.
it's being released because remember, it's an assumption
Yeah.
that isn't true.
Yes.
So
Liam and I talked about that a lot. A lot of it is assumption. A lot of it is assumption. A lot of it is like everything is perception. But I mean, just like what you're talking about now, like Liam having this little, disagreement, and and he shared it with me because it upset him, and we both talked about how Uncle Joe didn't upset you. You got upset because somewhere within you feel what he said, and it's subconscious. And Liam, I could like hear the wheels in his brain clicking and turning. Like he really he got it. I mean, he's a smart young man, but like these is the word not esoteric. These concepts aren't the easiest to grasp. I'm 56. My birthday was Saturday, Gareth. And I have a hard time grasping them. And so, little dig there, little
yeah, no,
dig
everyone out
there.
there, it'll keep coming for our entertainment value. Katie's great. Precision
So,
engineered
but
mind.
no, but like he understood it, and he well, he sounded like he did. Like the subconscious part, I'm like, Liam, you could have left yourself when you were 4 or 5 to make me happy. Like it wasn't anything I did to you. It was something that humanity is coming to terms with, period. Sam says it's not good or bad, nor bad, though it feels bad. Well, we know that it's neither. And that leaves us without words. Yeah, because we're in this in
Exactly.
between place. It leaves us without, there aren't words for this. Sam and I have said to each other multiple times this past week, like, no words. I don't have any words. She'll share something about how she feels, and I'll share something about how I feel. But then, like, bleh, no words. She says, like walking a tightrope over nothing in nowhere yet everywhere. And she's right. Like
And it's really important as well, and you can't deny that it's really important as well. That
yeah, like it's real.
you do it all.
It's not just important. It's everything. It's not just important. It's the future of humankind. Like it's like so. We're saddled with the responsibility of what we chose here to do, rather, but we're also saddled with like the forgetfulness of our power, and then being hammered by the skies, the water, the food, the screens, the frequencies, like all these things where like Todd would say, pull your bootstraps up and just buck up. Like, so, and he's right. He's got a point. We're all going like diving into victim consciousness to dive back out, to
Yes,
climb back out.
that's right.
Yeah.
And dive through it. But that victim consciousness. Oh, that's right. The York Terriers did say something to me yesterday about this. That's right. They come in. I have no control over it. Sometimes I can ask, and it's just crickets. Other times I'm not even asking, and they just step in and say a word, and there's a chain of thought, and I'll just step in from sideways and add a point of view into it. And this was, I was thinking about victim. Like, what do you do with that? Being a victim. Some sessions that I've been doing with people, and they came in and said the best cure for victim is knowing you're a perpetrator. That they cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out. We're all perpetrators. We're both. We're victim and perpetrator in this whole thing. But it's a really hard thing to look at when you've been programmed with the bad, 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 and don't feel that, and run the other way, and smile that away, and like all that bullshit. So it's like if we had the freedom to face it as, little ones, it wouldn't have gotten to this point. But that's the entire kit and caboodle. That's the
The
whole
whole
thing.
thing. Yeah, that's it. That gap between success and failure and insecurity, it's the same gap as victim perpetrator. It's getting the two to coexist together. That within us, they coexist within us, and that's our focal point now. It's not out there anymore. It's in here, and that's really, really important. It's powerful, and it's all a mirage of false assumptions that never got checked out as well. And kind of the more you get into it, the more aware you are of that, and that's a double-edged sword too, because
Yes.
you can explain it away without having to go there.
Yep. I tried to explain that to Liam too. He's like, well, I just want to be respected. I have my own thoughts and my own beliefs and my own thought. I'm like, okay, just stop for 1 second. And you have, thrown your degree in my face as a reason to, I don't know, believe COVID or whatever. And do you understand that none of our beliefs are our own at this point until you basically wake up and really choose your own belief? Because right now, my beliefs are not what's being told to us. So I appear to be homophobic and racist and gun-toting and anti-gay and pro-abortion and like all of these things, because that's not the status quo. So if your mother, whom you love and is a loving, kind person, is believing the opposite of what has been sold to her and you and all of us all of her life, then wouldn't you stop and think like I know I went off the point, but I was just basically talking to him about your thoughts kind of aren't your own right now, buddy. Like, I love you. You're doing your best. You're a good guy. But your thoughts are manufactured. Mine were too. Mine were too. That's why it's kind of an exciting thing to have an awakening, to have had 50 years of being full on matrix and then had an awakening so abrupt. Like, I can speak to both with a level of expertise, for crying out loud, because I went 180. I went 180, confused the hell out of everybody, including myself, and said, oh my God. But then once you see it, it's so obvious. It is so crystal clear once you see the agenda, once you see the intention behind the words they use, the imagery they use, all of it. It's so obvious.
Yeah, and that again, the assumption.
Hey.
Questioning the assumptions, the education that people have had, getting it to that point where it's not just the assumptions about maybe I was good at X, Y, or Z, and and I thought I wasn't, but maybe I am. You know, it's more than that. It's the assumptions that the paradigm we operate from the education system is correct. History, you know, all the subject matter that you get into in academia around science, particularly around mental health, is a big one right now. The
Big one. Mental
totalitarian
health is a
system.
sham. Oh,
Oh, they're trying that
sorry.
right now. They're trying to centralise control around hospitals in Australia to go into all sorts of areas like mental health and neurodivergency and give doctors a lot of power. So that medical system questioning the beliefs within that, getting to the where you assume because you've got a degree in geophysics that your expertise outweighs anyone questioning anything because you have the
Yeah, I
degree.
said that. I, s- I said that to Liam today, you know, about the disagreements and our beliefs like going like this since, 2020. And his little, tiff with his uncle today. Like I said, keep in mind, he's got 20 years on you and I got 27. Like your silly degree from your private Catholic college means fuck all in the face of real lived experience. And I'm not diminishing what you accomplished. I'm not diminishing what you did. But he was talking to me today about he and his girlfriend not enjoying road trips. Like, I just don't enjoy driving like you do and like Uncle Joe does. And I'm like, well, how about you reframe that? And maybe you haven't enjoyed driving where you've gone, or you haven't enjoyed driving with whom you drove with. Like, every single thing you define yourself as, how about you reframe it to absolutely the opposite or something else just for a split second? We never stop and pause and do that. Liam, like maybe you'd love a road trip when it was you and your girlfriend Sam who decided together to drive across country to San Francisco. Like maybe that's when the road trip becomes like, magical experience. But because like it's so funny watching him at 29 years old, well, almost 29 this year, be so married to the things he thinks define him. It's really
Right.
interesting seeing the rigidity in such a young person. Like, and I
Right.
said to him, like, I want you to live your life, Liam. I watch you be more concerned about being late to work than if your mother is okay. Like, do you see the messed up priority there? Your mother hasn't wanted to be alive in 7 years, and you stress over being 20 minutes late to work more than you check in with your mother's well-being. Like that's not that you naturally, Liam. You are a loving, wonderful soul. That is the shit that was done to us, fed to us. The priority of work over family, work over love, responsibility over joy. Like that, like it was a good talk today. Every time I'm talking to you, like this whole time I'm talking to you, I keep remembering these gold nuggets we had. That kid,
Great. Perfect.
man. Yeah, right?
That's it. And there's a big relationship between Gen X and their generation in the transition, and the Boomers actually. That three but even though there's subsets, but there's three basic generations involved in this transition, all reconnecting around the central point, which is reality,
Yep.
and clearing out the mind control system, which relies on this. The victor writes the history is something Napoleon said as one of the deep state strategies, rewriting history. So going through changes and then like the transformation the Roman Empire went through. I keep using that as an example, but that's the history around it and the reality, the history we've been taught and the reality acquired. There's a lot more that was happening we don't know about. I mean, the Nazarene,
Yep.
for instance, the history around him.
Yep.
But the generation gap was something that came in post World War II. A lot in the social engineering strategy really picked up post World War II. So that generation gap was a big one, where their generation can dismiss any wisdom we have about the world we've lost because of digital as being ignorance, and that their knowledge as being superior because they have a better understanding of it. They grew up with it. They're faster with it in certain ways. They can work with the digital realm in a more kind of like you would expect. They're
Yeah,
better at it
fluid,
than
like
we are.
right?
Yeah, they're more fluid with it than we are. But there's a price and a payoff. There's wisdom and foolishness. You don't truly know a thing until you know, if you want to know if something's worth doing, look at what it leaves you with. Well, that means reflecting on it. Look at what it's left us with. How do we know we've done the right thing with digital in exactly the way we've played it out? Unless we stop and think, go, right, okay, what's it given us and what's it taken away? Well, you need Gen X. You have to include Gen X in this paradigm shift. Our perspective has to be included because we've paid the price for post World War II, and in a way that our parents' generation were too caught up in to see.
Yep.
And we've watched digital take away what we had in our childhood. And yes, there was a lot of bad stuff out there, but there was a fundamental freedom we had to explore our place in the world that was taken for granted by the world at the time because that's just the way reality was, and that they've lost a big part of.
Oh
It
yeah.
takes being able to sit down and reflect on that and have the direct experiences. There has to be people talking from direct experience about the world that's pre-digital. So
Yes.
that that has to shift, and there's stuff that's been put in ahead of time. The strategy of using what's the word secret agents, embedded agents, have changed within the general population. A lot of soul groups included in it. My own, for instance, there's several soul purposes out there that are in that secret agent category, and their generation they were set up in the way they are so that they take on the fourth beast rising from the sea process. So they have a conservative astrological generational aspects are quite conservative. So that's where you can they have a tendency to get rigid in it, like the baby boomers.
Yep.
They're different generational aspects in some ways, but they have a similar impact and similar effect on us. Whereas for us, it's those same generational aspects are quite revolutionary. So change is something that the Gen X has a better handle on than these two generations, and that's been a blessing and a curse because it's created an escape mechanism. It's made us seem like your glasses, rainbow coloured in reality. The feminine has a lot of expression when you're revolutionary, but it's made us seem a bit chaotic to those other two generations. But that's life, is you can't control it. And we have an
Yep.
intrinsic understanding of that on a deep level.
That's another thing I said to Liam. Ha! I said Liam because he's like, because this tiff with his uncle was about something coming up June 19th. And I'm like, Liam, why are you even answering something about that? Like, well, because we want to plan and I don't know what I'm going to be doing. And my point was like, exactly, you don't know. I'm like, if you and I are talking right now about letting the past lay where it is, like you're not the same person you were 5 minutes ago when we got on this call, Liam. I'm not the same person I was 5 minutes ago when we got on this call, Liam. If we are in agreement to let the past be in the past, it no longer even exists, for crying out loud, then stop trying to formulate your future, to know what's coming in your future. He's like, well, I'm really analytical. I'm like, yeah, well, where the world is going, I mean, that I guess could be a strength in some areas, but the heart is so much more important than the brain, where the world is going. And I said, like, just I said, Liam, you're very intent on telling life what it is, what it should be. Like you think you're behind, and like you're making this big life change with your car or with your girlfriend because it appears to be progress for you. But I got to tell you, you had a free car and now you don't. And you're moving in with a girl who is lovely. We love her, but like who you had total freedom from, like both of you had this incredible freedom. You're moving in with the idea of progress. Like you're creating what you think progress is because that's what the world tells you progress is and what you should be doing and where you should be going. And he was like, okay, fair point. Okay. I'm like, yeah, it's a fair point because you're not happy about that $600 car payment, are you? Are you?
No, that's
What were
it.
you
And
going to
that's what
say,
you got to do
Gareth?
is ask those questions. Pardon?
What were you going to say? You got excited to say something
Well,
about that.
that's all you got to do is ask the question. Have I got everything I think I know right? Being willing to go there, is the education I've been given fully accurate? And I mean, I think personally a lot's going to play out post Easter that'll force the issue for a lot of people. And that's again part of the great coming together. Our experience of that process will be very different to a lot of general public, and I think it'll get a lot easier on all of us as it becomes more mainstream. That question becomes more mainstream.
Yeah.
That doubt going from this thing you've pushed behind you that you're pretending doesn't exist. So you need to know.
Yeah.
Coming into what you think you know. That's that self doubt that you've been trying to avoid actually starts to have a place in your life now, where you're doubting
Yeah.
your belief system, because in the end that self doubt comes from the very belief system that you're now doubting, and it
Right.
brings it all out. But for us, we've been sitting in this self doubt for a long time. So I just think this Easter we've all been feeling it particularly, and there are no words for it because it's very deep, very old, and it's very the entire human race scale as well as just our personal life, and that so it's within our family system. This feeling that's been brought out, it's within our family
Yeah.
system. It's other people's in our families. It's other people in our social groups, the race, the cultures we belong to, races we belong to, and then the human race. There's lots of faces to it. And that's why I think it's hard to name. But again, that process will get a lot simpler when it becomes mainstream. At the moment, there's quite a few, you could say, relatively, people who have been holding this awareness for the whole human race. So there's an intensity
Yeah.
to it.
And that's
Mm.
why I yawned. That's why I yawned. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I just said, just allow life to show you what it is. Stop trying to tell life what it is. Like if I had someone telling me the shit that I now know, I probably wouldn't have listened. But nobody's gonna have nobody's gonna have a choice but to listen in the coming months and year.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
It might be a lot to listen to, and that might come in stages for different people. But the fact that you now know you need to listen, that becoming mainstream, it's inevitable and it's playing out. And I think post Easter onwards, we'll see it in the
Yeah.
physical.
Easter
And yeah,
was big.
yeah, big. And
Yucky.
don't feel bad
Yucky
if you
weekend.
if you procrastinated or used didn't I don't know. Don't feel bad about yourself for how you've been meeting it either. That's important. It's
Yeah, it's
okay to
important not. Yeah, it's important to feel this way. It's important to be allowed to not do all the things you're in a rush to do that you don't even know why you're in a rush to do them. Like I was telling you earlier that I'm in this rush to do things. I just like stumble around this house looking at a million things I could do. And I'm just like, I'll do anything not to do that. But then all of a sudden, in an inspired moment, I'll get like 6 of them done. And and I and I don't know where the energy came from. I don't know where the inspiration came from. I had zero control over it. I did not plan it. And it's quite astonishing when you allow life to show you what it is and not the other way
and
around.
play out. Yeah, and you can see
the struggle we have with being in the gap where the inspiration can come to you, but we're in that gap. You're gathering around you, I guess you could say, the subject matter, and then there's timing where the action stage comes in, but we suffer that process because we think it should be something else, particularly that prep stage. So it's okay. We've got a lot tied up in that, needing it to be, needing the process we're going through to eventuate into something, and being nervous about it, doing that. And a lot of that feeling you described, kicking around the house, feeling like you should be doing X, Y, and Z, and then feeling you shouldn't, and then feeling bad about it, and complicated. It's all just based on the assumption that what's happening shouldn't be happening the way it's
Shouldn't
happening.
be happening. I am so full of judgment
Is that
on
really
what's
true?
happening and how I'm doing this. I am so full of judgment. And everyone I talk to has the same monkey thoughts in their monkey mind. And like, yeah, Easter was something. Sonia says Easter was so rough, got taken into such a dark depression. And then Diana says the moon was in Scorpio on Easter weekend. Go figure, the underworld, right? Like, quite honestly, I cannot affirm enough or speak enough to the importance of astrology and the placement of the planets and the stars today and in your natal chart. Like, I cannot, I even talked to Liam about, that's another thing I talked to Liam about. This whole show is going to be about me talking to my kid. Well, everybody who knows me personally knows that we haven't talked. We haven't basically had a relationship in 5 years, maybe. No hatred or anything like that, but just like, ooh. So it's a big deal that I'm talking to my son.
Yeah.
So everything that you guys say and ask and think, I'm like, oh, I told Liam that. I told him he's lucky in the coming year to have me for his mom. I'm like, forget the first 28 years. You're lucky to have me for the next one. Like, good on you, buddy. I'm like, I said to him too, I said, with what's coming, oh, there's Christy. Christy's in the chats. I love her. It's her birthday today. It's Christy's birthday
Oh,
today. Yeah. Happy
Christy,
birthday,
happy
Christy.
birthday. I didn't
Yeah,
miss your
Gareth's
birthday
gonna
like someone else's.
shut up, Gareth.
Can we get
Christy,
to?
Gareth's going to email you for a reading, for an astrology reading. But like, what was I got so excited when I saw her name. Oh my God, I got so excited that I totally lost what I was
So
saying.
you're saying
But
about
like,
astrology being
astrology, I told Liam
your
too.
favorite
Another
reading.
thing I told Liam about the coming year, I'm like, with everything that's happening, and everybody in my family knows I changed overnight, yet nobody except my mom is curious about what happened and what Katie now knows. Like, nobody pretend. It's like the pink elephant in the corner of the room. I said to Liam today, just today, I said, so when all this unhinged shit is happening out there, you remember your mama told you she knows some things. It's all going to be okay. And just come ask me. It's okay. I was so on fire. I was so excited to have the kid's ear for 2 hours that I was like, okay, what else can I tell? No, it wasn't conscious. I think I was channeling. It wasn't conscious. I don't freaking know.
Good though, yeah, excellent. And you're right about astrology and the planets and Scorpio. Yeah, in the Easter thing with Scorpio. And so yes,
Ooh.
Kirsty will be
Meeting. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're going to talk to Christy. Go ahead.
yes, Christy, I'll be emailing you.
For a session. Yeah.
Yeah.
She, like meeting her, everybody knows how much I adore Amanda Scarcella, right? And we've talked about the abilities you have to hear something years ago to the abilities you have today to hear the exact same thing. So I'm absolutely smitten with Christy, and like, I message her and she calms me down in a matter of seconds with like 8 words. like gives me an understanding of the stars because she knows my natal chart now, which you have done for me as well too. You have told me the importance of that. Like she tells me, I talked about this last week on the show, that she told me that like this truth seeking, this like investigate, find out the truth, uncover the lies. That's in your birth chart, Katie. I'm like, oh yes. Like I was destined to be this crazy. This is great. But
I chose
so
it.
like I can hear, yeah, I chose this. Like I can hear her now. I can hear about the stars in a way that I hadn't. Like they are the answer to everything. They don't absolve me of my responsibility. They don't take away from, whatever, my responsibility, my ownership of my own behavior, my reaction, my response. But boy, oh boy, is it an assistance, a guidance when you feel like this. And she's like, Katie, you're going to have a really, really challenging April. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I've wanted to die for 7 years. If you're telling me I'm having a difficult April, that's like a walk in the park.
Challenging.
And
Yeah, go,
what?
go. Were you
No,
saying you go?
I was going to say she wrote understanding the astrology of right now and what's coming over the next year helps so much with mental preparation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
And
I'm
but
listening. Go
things like
ahead.
Liam's conversation, that change happening, getting a handle on going away for this road trip, Confluence. Is it Confluence? It is Confluence, isn't it?
Confluence is the first one. Yeah. There
The
are
other one
others
is,
after.
but things
Tom Cowan's New
physically
Biology.
coming into your life, like changes coming into your life physically, are a big part of that change. Like, so it doesn't have to be um, negative. Like we see it, quite often we feel negative, like stuff being taken away from us and losing out, but gaining what we've been working to. This is what I was the point I was trying to make at the start. Getting what we've been working on connecting to us can be the most challenging part because it means letting go of the part of you that thought it wasn't possible. And that sounds, huh?
That
But it's
defeatist. That defeatist.
defeatist. That part of you that doesn't want to risk, to stay away from, to manage the risk of insecurity. So, you might have a gift for public speaking. This is a loose example, first one that came to me. You might have a gift for public speaking and a whole series of experiences when you were a kid that turned you right off it. And so your joy of life is in stepping out in some way, and your life process, in spiritual process, when you start working up, takes you back into the fourth, keeps putting you back into situations that help to deal with that fear of the unknown and dissipate it gradually over time. But at some point, stepping out into your gift means losing the part of you that can't believe it's possible for you, that you have what it takes. So that's
Yep.
why it can be very challenging. Getting
Very
what you want can
challenging.
be as challenging as
So
thinking you can never have it goes with it.
So Christy just said, Diana totally loves studying astrology. Saved her ass, she says. Christy says, my whole purpose of practicing astrology is to be able to give people the knowledge and awareness to help them get through this thing we call life. And boy, is she good at it. Sam said, my revelation, being excluded and unwanted from holidays, what if it was always love? Not earthly love, but pure, true love. Love enough to play the villain in our story to get us here to now. And I've talked about that on various shows where the ones who are the most challenging on our life and our earth plan, our earthly life right here, are the ones who love us so, so deeply that they agreed to be that villain in our story for
Right.
our own awakening.
And that's a very subtle understanding, deep, subtle
Isn't it
understanding.
though? Isn't it
But
though?
in the end, it's, you can't be all God and not be that.
No,
True, that has to
can't.
be true. At some level, that has to be true. So it served a purpose. In other words, is probably what we're trying to say is we came into this life with a purpose, and that element was deliberately engineered to serve
God,
that
that's
purpose.
hard. It's
It's
so
hard, and
hard. It's so hard.
both parties can meet the process in they can elevate it or they can escalate it or de-escalate it, depending because it's a fluid thing with consciousness in the moment. So how intense or where it gets acted to can vary depending on both sides, and we both have a responsibility within that. But the dynamic between the two was engineered so that we could get a handle on it, direct
Oh
experience.
God, I know. Well, that means my cousin Heather, she loves me more than anybody. My kid loves me fiercely. My sister, oh, she thinks I'm the bee's knees. But it's this physical, it's the physical form that kicks our asses, that
Hmm.
rakes us through the coals, that literally tempers us in the fires of conscious expansion. It's insane. It's
Hmm.
insane. And I want it to
Gives us the
stop right
impetus.
now.
Well, and that's how it stops, isn't it? When you realise it isn't what you thought it was, it stops being what you thought it was by definition.
By
And
definition.
a lot changes when that happens because we think we've got to do the change, but just seeing that truth and letting it reverberate. Like I
Change
said,
does
that
us.
exactly. We want this big dramatic moment, but sometimes it's just recognizing that that's the truth. It all serves us waking up to the truth, and in the end, that's the gift that undoes all of it. And it doesn't have to be a dramatic moment, but it reverberates out. It,
Yeah.
it can be a
The
small
the the
ripple.
stone in the pond.
Yeah, it reverberates out, and it does all the changing for us. But that's what happens at that level. It starts bringing in, like you're experiencing, physical changes. Like suddenly, randomly, your son's you have what was it, an hour and 40-minute conversation with your son
Yeah.
covering everything, and you wanted to make that happen, but you couldn't, or you
I
said you
couldn't.
went the
He
other
could.
way. You gave it to Tom. You stepped back into, okay, somehow this is all serving me. I don't know how, but I'm willing to at least allow room for that perspective to be there. And then something starts to happen on its
Yeah.
own just because
Yeah.
you allowed that to move in.
Sam just said if we were let to be comfortable inside the illusion, we would stay in it. And that was never possible because that isn't our way.
That's
Like,
right.
yeah,
I mean, even those of the interference and what's happened with them
it
is
was
a part
too
of
real.
this. Yeah, I mean, that's what Tom told me. Darkness serves a purpose, but it's what
Yep.
we
I've
make it
been
into.
using that a lot.
Yeah, and that's the power of free will. We have the power to make that darkness into anything we want. And then we've been we've we've been tricked, or we've tricked ourselves into both, believing that that's the way it is. And that's where the assumptions, checking out all the assumptions comes in. Is it the way it is? And if it isn't, what is? And again, you can't do that without dealing with insecurity, because that's part
No,
of the definition. This is the way it is. That's where it comes from. It's not just, oh, I see this the way it is because it's the way it is, and we feel impassive in it as an adult. When we were a kid, it's very intense. Those moments where you
yeah,
get pulled into doubt can be very intense. So you need it to be something you can understand. Life needs to be, your relationship needs to be something you understand. So you'll pull the belief system around it that's in the conditioning around us. You'll form a picture and call that reality.
yep.
And it's just not. It's just not.
Yeah, it's funny. The whole defeatist thing snuck in when you were talking about Confluence and things coming to me, because last year I went to Confluence and you said the same thing. And I'm like, oh man, does that mean this whole next year is going to be like this whole last year? Like, that's what sneaks into my brain. Because I remember you telling me you knew, you felt the resistance. I was clear about the resistance to go to Confluence. I'm still clear about the resistance. I'm still like, why am I doing this? Like, it's to see, these ladies and these people that I love. I don't give two shits about the speakers or the event, but like you said, you're meeting life. You're allowing life to meet you, tell you what it is and everything. And I'm like, and that's the first place I went, was like, oh my God, does that mean this whole next year is going to be like this whole last year? Because I don't want that.
Well,
God, no, please.
20,
God, no, please.
2025 is a different animal to 2026. And that process, foundation layer, I mean, I think a lot came out of when you went to Confluence, particularly with that motivation and what played out afterwards. Like a lot of like this, what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
There was
true.
a knock on effect of things that played out, that this is like part of the reason we're doing what we're doing came out of that. And but then the spiral, that spiral movement, you'll notice with a spiral in the universe, it always starts small and gets bigger. So physical reality being created in this ripple effect gets more, it moves faster and becomes more tangible, and it takes on bigger form and bigger picture scale as it plays out. So I think you'll find it moves faster and it's a little more like, not, I wouldn't say
Yeah,
obvious, let's say.
a louder. I
Louder,
mean,
yeah,
that's
more
more pronounced, more like
clearer.
like there's a direction. It's not quite clear, but there's a direction. Roseanne just said, "Look how far you've come since last year," and like I
Yeah.
love her to death. Of course, she's gonna say that, because I'm like, well, wait a minute, how far have I come? I'm like, what? I feel like I'm doing the same shit I always do. There is the element of me that has heard you tell me, enjoy, enjoy your solitude, enjoy your rest, enjoy the quiet, because we're entering the active phase. It's going to get really loud. And then I look at all these Lego kits that I've been collecting over the last few years, and I'm like, wow, I hope I still have all that time in the middle of winter to sit around in my living room and do Lego. like, is the new world gonna exhaust me and kick my ass and take away my me time? Oh wait, no, it's not.
Well, no,
I'm
no,
so
no, no.
retarded.
Busy though, probably busy.
Yeah, I know,
Travel.
but you know what? I'm busy now. I mean, I'm doing all sorts of things now. I don't. It's not in the old 3D way of doing things, though. So it's like I forget how much I'm taking part in, how much I'm doing. It's really weird. It's really weird.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and because you're in the feeling you're in, but the active phase there tends to be a lot more movement. The passive phase, you'll tend to sort of withdraw, and there's less movement. There's a lot of movement in some ways, and there's less physical movement, you could say.
Yeah,
While the
there's
active
more.
phase,
The whole thing we're all learning, that there is more done in non-doing. That whole thing.
than you think, and in fact, the doing phase needs that non-doing phase for it to work properly. It needs the non-doing layer because that affects the foundation that the action comes from. Well, this is what?
Mike, Mike with another zinger. I'm so sorry. He's the only one who can like knock me off my chat interview symmetry. Mike says, I bet everyone here walked the opposite of the arrows in the grocery store in 2020. He's so funny. Yeah, my mom is losing it laughing downstairs. Oh my God, it's so funny. Oh my God. And then everyone's talking. LOL. Yes, Mike. Yep, I did, Mike. And then Sam's like,
I
also
did.
refused to stand on giant dots. That's what Sam said. And Brian said, yeah, Brian said they hated when I did that. They did. We totally fucked with Mr. Smith in the Matrix when we walked the opposite direction of the arrows, when we stood off of the big dots, Sam. Oh my God.
You
When
just had to
Mr.
do it.
Smith loses, you had to. You had
I
to
had to.
not do it. It was so retarded.
Just
God,
because it was.
Mike just says, I knew it. That guy is so funny. I don't even know if he knows how funny he is. Oh God, and Diana says, yes, Mike, and I refuse the face diaper too. I love it when people call it a face diaper.
Face diaper.
That cracks me up.
People still use them, and yeah.
Oh, Mike says he's so glad he's not alone.
And that's the feeling, being alone in it, that needs to change. This, what have we been dealing with all this time? What is it really that we've all been dealing with all this time? Like getting that question answered. Oh, this. But so much of it is about being put in the right frame of mind that you can hear it. And that's again the passive phase. Passive phase has. That's why it's so important. That's why it's so important.
Yes.
You know that
It's
the,
like
the passive the
I
passive
had
phase
to
has been a bit.
hibernate.
Yeah, you've got to reflect. You've got to reflect. You know, there's a part of you that it's just time to take stock and reflect. And but our belief system argues with that process, and yet we have the need to do it anyway. So we give ourselves a hard time for it, and we try to pull ourselves out of it before it's had its effect. And remember, the ego that controls is all about not letting that process happen. But that's why you have to bottom out and hit the wall at that deep level. You've got to go. You've got to run out of road, so that the question, "What's the truth?" is there's nothing below it. It's too deep for that ego that controls
Yeah.
strategy to win.
Absolutely, absolutely. But there is still a hanging on layer of
Yeah, right.
guilt and shame and judgment over the length of time. Like when I see, and it's the whole comparison thing, like if I see a post, an awakening post on Instagram or something, and someone talks about like, oh, it is okay if you cannot get out of bed for a week. And I'm like, 7 years! I'm like, what are you talking about? You couldn't brush your teeth for a day. Are you kidding me, you newbie? What is this, your first rodeo? Like,
7 years.
I'm sorry, it's been years. Years. But like, I keep seeing people in the chat and people I know who aren't working and who are still squeaking by. Not comfortably, not enjoyably, but like somehow God is providing for the awakened light workers to not be in the 3D, to not have to be in the 3D. I'm not saying it's easy. I know. But the non-doing is so important. It's so important.
It is stepping out of this system in order to reflect on it. It's so hard, like you say. You know, there's a lot of people who aren't playing the game, the work job 3D game and squeaking by. Like I know what that feels like. But you do always get what you need. It's uncanny, but it keeps you on the edge because there's something about being able to handle being on the edge that's important. And your ability to handle being on the edge is really just about experience. And the only way to get it is to be on the edge. And you get a handle on
Yes.
the experience.
To have the question, to be on the edge, to give it over to God, to have the curiosity. Literally. Direct experience. The only way, man.
The edge of being that edge represents balance. So once you get a handle on that you can, yeah, it's tough, but you know what? So it de-escalates the feeling, and there's something really big about that. There's something like that has a lot of implications over time. So these passive phases de-escalate a lot of the resistance to the change needed to come in, so that when the active phase does happen, yeah, it can take form in a much bigger way. And then the next passive phase is triggered by the how deep the active phase reconstructed something, and then you go through another layer. So that's the spiral. You deepen emotionally and you become more aware mentally. Each time you make a pass of the spiral, it gets smaller, simpler.
Simpler. Yes. This passive phase has really, through my own self-reflection, through my own self-flagellation, it has worn me down to care fucking less about what any of the family and friends think of me or my path. It's made me louder on Instagram, not in an obnoxious, know-it-all, in-your-face, cold way, but in a louder, truthful, sovereign, strong way. Like that 7 years of passivity was a lot of deep thinking and growing. Like you told me, and I did not believe you. I trusted you, but I did not believe you that things were happening. You don't know it's happening. You can't feel it happening. You don't have a conscious awareness that it's happening, Katie, but things are happening when you're doing nothing. Oh my God, Patty says, how many layers, Gareth? She wants numbers. We want to know how many right now.
Let's just say 9. We'll say
9, Patty. He likes the number 9, Patty. We're going to go with 9. How many you got to go?
9.
Well, I've gone through 39, so I think I'm good.
39 layers. I love that you know that.
39 is one of my favorite numbers because it's my dad's birth year. And so I see 739 on the clock like all the time. Like I just found out a friend of mine's birthday is 7/7, which is my dad's birthday. And like, I just love 39. It's a really good number for me. Dad's always saying hi through the numbers. It's 9:39. Dad's saying hi right now, everybody. Dad says hi.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Katie's dad. Well, actually, 9. I think that's right. 9 is completion with childhood. So give me a child till they're 7, I'll show you the man. In other words, give me a masculine belief system, the ego principle. Till a child's 9, I'll show you the complete masculine principle. But then after that, there's 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. So when you're dealing with those 9 layers, you're also dealing with a lot of other parts of the spiral that equal the same round and round point. So it depends on how you move through how much complexity there is in it, in the adult layers that came after those first 9 layers, how many layers of these patterns played out in different parts of your life at different ages, because they all connect to the same kingpins. So it depends how much there is behind that and how much you deal with it and how deep you're willing to go on each layer. So you'll go round and round each layer until you've cleared out.
So everyone in the chat is saying hi to my dad, who oh my goodness, this year he'll have been dead 10 years this year. Oh wow, that's
Ooh.
wild. I know. Anyway, and then Patty, who asked, Gareth, we want numbers. How many layers? She's like, I like 444, but let's not go there.
Yeah. Let's put a decimal
Oh,
point in there.
and that's the other thing. When every morning, one of my first practices is to thank God and to ask God for help. Like that's like the simplest and the most true to me is thank you and please help me, right? But on particularly trying days, if I go
Please
out
help.
in my thank you, please help me. If I go out in my car, I do see just a nod from God or my dad or whomever, guides, angels, whatever. I see 97 in all the license plates around me, and that's the year Liam was born, and that's the year we hit the 100th monkey. So I see 97s a lot too. So that's really cool.
Wow.
That's really cool.
97. Yeah, that was a big number for me too.
Yep. Yep. You and I have gone through our synchronicities, like the synchronicities, and then us meeting and being as close as we are. Like, that's some star ordained shit right there.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We've
But what
never
were you going to
actually.
say about 97? What? Sorry.
9 and 7. I didn't know nothing really particularly. Just it was a big year. 1997 was a big year, and
Yeah, exactly.
like a lot happened, and it's still reverberating big time. And a lot about what's coming actually started to that anchored it that year. Really anchored it in the ground. The inversion, the reversing of the inversion process being anchored in the ground physically was
Hmm.
97, you could say. So
Yes, yes. You've always told me that, and I was so excited because it was the same as Liam's birth year. But then you also shared other things with me about like 1947 and 2000 or 1997 or all these years with significance that end in seven. Like that was
yes,
wild.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was important. Yeah, 47, 67, 77 was another one. Um,
Yep.
87, I had a lot of clear sight experiences in 87, and 77. Um, where was it? It was the summer of 77. So after Christmas and New Year's, before my birthday, though, we were still on school holidays. So it must have been January before we went back to school. That was when I had one of the big ones with clear sight experiences with the hawk because I was 9. I turned 10 in March that year, 2nd of March that year, I turned 10. But before that, and that's when I fell off the roof of the building and I saw those 9 images, those holographic images. And I had the experience with the hawk, and I was taken up onto a ship and given a lot of they transferred a lot of knowledge. They transferred something to my subconscious, knowledge to my subconscious that would play out and at the right time would come in. So it would help connect the dots. So I'd lived through a whole process. Plus, I had this clear sight, these sort of like clear sight experiences that were all timed, and then this sort of body of knowledge in my subconscious that they put in, which were all connecting somehow. It would play out.
Yep. And will too. Keep doing it. They'll keep
Yeah,
connecting.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like we'll talk about something. We'll have experiences, and somehow some physics concept will just come through.
Just come through you. It happens all the time. I'm like, my God, how are you not a PhD? Like, I mean, not that that means anything anymore, but you speak. When we have our talks, it's like, whoa,
Funny, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. And that those
weird. You're
sevens all
channeling. That's
tied
like
in with that.
coming through.
yeah, big time channeling. I think for the world. So there's when was when was the moon 69? Was when did the
I don't know.
Saturn V moon run happen? I don't know. Anyway, 2017 was huge for the transition. Like that a
Yep.
lot of stuff really started coming out. I mean, the whole thing with the Q posts, and there was a first wave
I
of the
love Q.
yeah, and that first wave of all of these groups forming really came in sort of post 2014 to 2017. There was a lot that happened. Janine, the Jean Claude and Janine, and there were quite a few core Intel sites,
Mark Atwood.
and Mark Atwood and the need for them
Yeah.
clicked. It was like the need
Yeah.
for them. Well, that was the post 97 process, and 2007, the 2008 strategy with the financial collapse was to counter something that was going on in 2007. Because there were two worlds sort of fighting it out.
Yep.
The real
Oh,
world that we think,
absolutely.
hmm, and that was important as the digital side of things was starting to hit a critical point then.
Hmm.
So what it
Hmm.
was meant to be a promise of, without destroying life, enhancing life, in other words, like taking natural life and then enhancing it with through this technology, was still there. But then this financial crash happened in order to kind of steer it. But um, and 2027 is massive. So
Yeah.
this whole
Was
thing
it
with ETs,
47 was ETs, right? 47 was Roswell or 57?
47 was, yeah, 47. I mean, there's been a lot of ET stuff around for a long time, but 47 was important in the ET. How us reconnecting directly with ET. That 47 was the
Yeah.
kickoff point for it. And so 2027 is the end game of that. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that what us integrating with the Galactic Federation and knowing who we are really, that coming to a head so that it was
Yeah.
an inevitable thing. That was started in 47. You could say basically the Galactic Federation showed up and told those of the interference, you tell them about us or we will.
Yep. Yep.
And they were given leeway, and that was done very strategically. They were given
Yep.
leeway so that they would basically show themselves,
Yep. And they did.
and they
It took a
did.
long
So there's
time,
that's
but
it. So
really a
these
blip
these
in eternity.
I mean, it'd be a good thing to go back and look at in your own life and in history any way you can find out what happened in each of these years that ended in seven, and
Yes.
look for
Yes.
patterns.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. I mean, like for me in my life, 77, my brother was born. 87, I was close to graduating high school, but I went through some pretty awful shit. 97, I had my son. 2007, no clue. 2017, first year without my dad. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
they're pretty significant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's tough stuff with it, and there's
Ooh,
also
Diana just
yeah,
said 1967 to 2027 anniversary of the Summer of Love, which was the first attempt at this paradigm shift, as I
yes,
understand it, was the first attempt, and the CIA and whatever slammed it down, coined the term hippies, made everything gross and weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Oh, Mike's
the
mom passed in 2000. Sorry, Gareth. Mike's mom passed in 2007. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
that's it. Yes. Mm. Well, the inspiration behind that movement came from humanity, and then they come in over the top and take that
and re-engineer it. They use PSYOP and they use control narrative to re-engineer it and alter our
Yeah.
perception so that,
Yeah.
we end up fighting against it instead of going with it. And that was 20 years after Roswell. So, and 67, that was when I was born. That's when I had that clear sight experience, was the following year, but it was related to that birthday. That clear sight experience of waking up in the middle of the night, and then I got epilepsy out of that. I was
Yeah.
basically targeted, and that experience, the map they used to read it was the birth date. So if you look at, that'd be an interesting thing for Amanda and
Christy.
Christy to look at, is the astrology around those years. That'd be
The
interesting.
7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, looking for.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Well,
There's a kite pattern that was important. That was 67 in March 67. There was. I'm not sure if it happened any other points in that year, but I was told that that was a symbol that they were looking for. That those of the interference were looking for this symbol because
yeah.
they use astrology. They know what this stuff means. So I'm
Yes.
interested to
Oh,
see what
absolutely.
was around 47, what 27 looks like, 2007.
Well, yeah.
Because
You could, it can what?
it can help you meet things in your day to day
Exactly what
life.
Christy said. Exactly what Christy said. I mean, she took my last 7 years and did a real cursory, like a really quick overview and said, "Oh yeah, oh yeah," like because I was like, why so long? Why these 7 years? And then she looked and she was like, "Oh yeah, this makes sense, Katie." And I'm like, like I'm really sorry, Katie, but it really makes sense. Like, damn it.
Not what you wanted to hear.
Not what I wanted to hear. Diana says 1967, Brother Gareth, Pluto conjunct Uranus. Yep.
That's the one,
Yep.
yeah. Pluto Uranus
Yeah,
conjunction in school.
Diana's the one who said studying astrology saved her. And Christy said, yep. Studying astrology is like, it's just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and I had, as a kid, I obviously as a kid, I'm talking from 4 years old to puberty. I'd have all sorts. I'd have quite a series of clear sight experiences around people saying their sign, like it would just randomly happen. Someone would say, people, they know about their sun sign, but that's about it. So they'll say, "Oh, so you're a Pisces and you're a Leo and you're a Scorpio." That might pop up in family conversations here and there, or friends, or just parties. I don't know. I can remember it happening a few times, and I would go flat out into 5D and know. I would always remember that whoever it was, I would never forget their sign. Teachers, school, I can remember it happening randomly with a couple of teachers at school. I can't remember, and then I would just watch them.
Yep.
Because I knew their sun sign, and I
Yep.
knew it was important. I would just watch them to see the characteristics, and I started to see patterns between people who I
Yeah.
knew were all Leos or Scorpios or Geminis, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how I started to learn what that meant. What does it mean to be a Scorpio? And then you learn about what planet rules each sign, just because you've already got an idea of the sign, and then how those planets, the quality each planet has, is why the sun sign of Pisces, for instance, has certain qualities. The planet carries them. So when that planet moves into another sign, it takes those qualities into the qualities of the other sign and they combine.
Yeah.
And everyone's got this crazy map of combined energies that's like a photograph of your soul purpose.
Who you
And then you
are.
can read that all the way through your life and connect your soul purpose with the circumstances that life God brought you. And you can match them at key points in your life and see it that way.
Yep.
You can see it that way. It gives you an objective way to see the problems in your life are serving you, and this is how.
Yep. That you sound like Christy. You're gonna have such a good time when you have your session with her. It just blows my mind. Like Nathan just said, astrology is my authentic religion now, right? Like, and I've long said there isn't a billionaire on the planet who doesn't consult the stars first thing in the morning. They don't
Yeah.
make a big trade, they don't make a merger, they don't acquire a building or a town or whatever without consulting the stars. They plan the dates, they know when the dates are not advantageous, like all that stuff. It's so crazy.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. And that because it's when Tom said mathematics is the language of the universe. Like I said a few times, there's the left brain mathematics we all know about, but the right brain feminine version is the divination arts, plotting trajectory, mapping it out, like creating a five-dimensional map is physics as well. It's like sacred geometry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sam says she never resonated with it. It used to make her cry when people would tell me how I was supposed to be. She's a Capricorn, as a telepath, empath, and sensitive. That makes sense, though. But it's probably because it actually resonated with your soul, Sam, and it was too painful with the
I was actually,
circumstances you were in.
well, I was going to say typical Capricorn. I mean, that
Oh,
is a joke.
poor girl. Poor
Poor
honey.
Sam. I'm
Don't do
joking. I'm
that to
joking.
Sam. Um, and then Diana asks everyone in the chat what their sign is. And then Revered Wolf says, and then you find out that Western astrology is completely wrong because we go by a 12-month yearly calendar when naturally it's 13 months to a year. Okay, so Revered Wolf, I asked Christy about that, and she said astrology goes back to Sumerian times. It's actually not as wrong as we think it is. I can't explain it to you the way that Christy did for me, but those 13 months, because of that messed up Gregorian thing, didn't screw it up as much as you would
As you
think.
think. No.
It really didn't screw it up anywhere near as much as people think. And
Yeah.
she acknowledges, the 13 months and the whole lie around the time and months and all of that. But there is good news, Revered Wolf.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, Wanda, yeah, totally. Chinese astrology because it includes the 13-month. Exactly. But Western, Christy can talk to this so much better than I can. I can't do it right now. Oh no, Sam just said I'm a typical Cap? Question mark.
Oh, Sam.
I
We'll have a
think
good
he
comeback.
doesn't mean that. I think he's being a dick. I think he was
Capricorns
just being a
actually,
smartass.
they have a real, because earth sign and structural, the structures, this, and this is wisdom. And at the end of the day, who gives a damn about spirituality if it doesn't change anything? What does it mean? It's the structure of our civilization has to reflect sacred masculine, or it's not holding the divine feminine, and that's its entire job. Full stop, end of story. And it won't work until it does. That the feminine is the feminine. You can't edit it or control it or change it. It needs to have 360-degree ability to express 360 degrees in order to function properly. The only way that's going to happen is if the structure holding it, the space that the feminine occupies, can hold that reality. And if it's about an attitude towards what things should and shouldn't be, that's not going to happen. So Capricorn, very much about it. It's got to be practical and it's got to have an application, practical application that works.
I think that
And
sounds
when
like
they
our
see,
girl.
well, when a Capricorn sees the need for that shift, they'll just do it. So they can actually handle quite intense trauma or emotional problems, and they have the discipline to just stay with the process of doing what needs to be done to make it work because it's
Sam
connecting to that.
Sam just says in the chats, Caps are kind of assholes. I'm not saying I'm incapable of being an asshole, but I'm a very loving, sensitive one.
I'm married to a
Oh,
Capricorn.
you are married to a Capricorn. And I know my sun, my moon, and my rising, but they're totally escaping me right now. I think I have a water moon.
Pisces moon.
I don't
You have
remember.
a Aries sun, Pisces moon. Your ascendant. Yeah, why can't I remember that?
My ascended
Aquarius?
Aquarius. Aquarius. You have a very good memory with those natal charts. You really do.
Astrology, yeah, it's always been.
Sam just said, "Oh yeah, that's me to a holy shit." I think you probably just described her very well. I think you're very good with astrology, Gareth. That's why I think you're gonna have a really good time with.
I just don't have the
Oh,
detailed knowledge that an astrologer has. But
Yeah, I know, but you're still really good with it. Nathan says it blew me away when I worked out my parents and my siblings' true astrology signs when I converted their signs to the true Ophiuchus 13 sign calendar. It showed that they are all Capricorns like me. Oh, that is wild. Sam says
wow,
she's a Sun Capricorn, Moon Sag, and Pisces rising. Yeah, so what did I say? I'm Aries Sun. What am I?
Aries sun, Pisces
Aries
moon,
Sun,
or
Pisces Moon,
Aquarius
Aquarius
rising.
ascending,
Yeah.
rising. Okay.
And if you don't know, you look very
Ooh,
simplistic. Yeah.
Maria just asked, can we ask psychic questions here? Well, good luck with that, Maria.
Yes, you
You
can.
can.
Just quickly, if you're not sure, sun sign you can think of as your personality, your persona. Moon sign, it's kind of more like your who you are at home when you really drop. So you downtime at home, the family's all out, and you've got the time at home, the stereo's cranking. Whatever it is you feel comfortable in being relaxed, that kind of tends to come out who you are at home. But then when you step out the street, the ascendant, the rising sign is like the face you put on. So they're layers of self depending on the situation you're in. So you'll respond to the world out there in a different way to the way you do in at home. And sometimes that discrepancy can be a problem for us. But there's always assets that each layer brings in. Like an Aquarius rising, for instance, is quite technologically works well. So tend to be early adopters of technological change, can
Yeah.
sort of deal with the application of technology. So, for instance, for you, part of your spiritual process is being able to handle social media, and you're really good at it and connecting. But the
Yep.
Pisces moon would have the Pisces side would have more trouble with that. So connect, but then you've got to have something to
Put them
communicate
together.
from.
Yeah.
So your ability to be vulnerable and just the Aries surrendering to that too. There's something about Aries immediacy, being willing to respond to the immediate moment, and that Pisces vulnerability and the Aquarian ability to kind of put together the infrastructure to be able to talk to people. The combination of those three all together.
Yeah.
So each
Yeah.
of us has got a we've all got our own mix of elements that help us and get in the way. And it's good to know the balance point between where the balance point is for each sign,
Hmm.
how that might look for us in different situations.
Yeah. And
You know,
in different times of the month and the year, and like
yeah.
all of it.
And
It's so amazing. Um,
psychic
so
questions.
Maria, you can ask anything you want, and he can do his best. Absolutely, I didn't mean to dismiss your question, but Revered Wolf says, "I have a question. After death, is it possible for somebody else to jump in and come back? Like I think that's like a soul jumping in, and then that body reanimating. Is that what you mean, Revered Wolf? You have any thoughts on that, Gareth?
Look, technically, yes. Technically, yes. And
Technically,
there's,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've come across things like walk-ins where if there's a if there's a glitch, let's call it a glitch in your mind, that the big one of the big problems is if there's our belief system and who we are, we've been shut down. We can't fully incarnate 5D, so we relate to the full truth of who we are as higher self.
So you can access your higher self. You can access your past lives. It's a way to connect with the full fifth dimension of who we are, which you don't really need to do so much when you're fully here. You know, a master like the Nazarene would just see the truth in each moment, which is something we can all do.
Yep.
If there's a
And we
trauma
will.
deficit, particularly within the family line, I've seen this with a lot of mental illness, particularly things like schizophrenia, then you could call it a hole in the person. So,
Like a fracturing. A fracturing.
like a fracture, you could say that an entity that matches that frequency can then take over. You can put it that way, but another way of putting it is the creative energy that we're stepping out of responsibility for can take a form that's separate from us. It's like artificial intelligence. Like we can create a false personality to handle a certain situation that we don't feel like we're handling. That's what schizophrenia and multiple personality disorders is all that. So you could talk about soul walk-ins because a soul wouldn't do that. You know, soul's governed by divine. So if it was
Sure.
done for a reason that served the divine purpose, then that's one thing. But a
Then
soul wouldn't take over the body at the expense of another soul. But this byproduct of human race believing we're something other than we are, and fear is something that creates that creative energy can create a false entity that can then speak
Yep.
through us. And conditioning,
Yep.
it's all the same problem with different layers of intensity and physical
Yeah, we
manifestation.
talked
The
about
whole
that
point of those
briefly.
of the interference infiltrating the human race was to get us to create this shadow world, to physically
Yep.
create it.
Yep.
So
To
we've been
physically
dealing with
create it,
that.
choose it. Yes.
So the
For
one that fell is the
13,000.
ultimate expression of that. There is no one that fell. There is no being called Satan.
Right.
It's not reality, but it's a figment of our imagination. And if it's allowed to go on, and that's the whole strategy of those, the interference moving through the universe in this galaxy, if it's allowed to go on to a certain point, free will, we choose to make it real. And that was the name of the game. So while the human race has been dealing with this problem over the last 12,000 years, you could say that spirits could take over you in a way. And there are different layers of that. Did you just
Yeah.
freeze?
No, no, no. I'm looking at the chats because Revered Wolf was listening to you and said, I was sentient and aware and conscious as I observed my body being electrocuted on a live wire. I came back, but for 40 years, I don't think I'm supposed to be in this body, which is very interesting because my awakening was so abrupt and so quickly. Many people have said I was a walk-in. So, like, I wonder if Revered Wolf thinks like they were replaced. I don't know. I can't really
Look, if
speak to
that
that.
another thing that's possible is, particularly with very, very intense trauma in family lines, that a soul can step out and another soul can step in. And this happened to my partner actually, because of the way we connected and because of what that meant and the way it was playing out. There was a soul change was done. But again,
Yeah.
that serves the divine purpose. So if that's the case, for instance, I'm sorry, whose question was this again?
Revered Wolf.
Revered Wolf. In your case, that could be that that event and whatever purpose, whatever line is in your family, the purpose, soul purpose you have went to a new level, and the ability to deal with it has gone way above what was expected, let's say. So it could create a new timeline, which could reset the circumstances around it, which meant a soul could either decide, I'll step out of this purpose and align with another one, and another soul will step in and take over. But if that's the case for you, revered wolf, then yes, there's discord. Perhaps there's discord, and you can interpret that a lot of different ways. But that discord can be about the purpose is resolving the discord itself. Because in the end, it doesn't matter what light space vehicle the soul is operating through. It's all, especially in this timeline, especially in the human races on this planet, it's all the same thing. It's all for the same purpose.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not the big deal it might seem. It's actually quite simple.
Yeah.
So just because of discord and you went through this experience doesn't mean it's wrong. That's important to get around. And the nature of soul, light space vehicle, physical, and this thing called being possessed, you could say, by a bad spirit or
Yeah.
confusion. There would never be confusion around soul purpose being in a light space vehicle. That's very carefully monitored. That has to be in service to the divine order only, because that's exactly where it comes from. There is only the divine order in reality. This false matrix is what happens. Free will goes a bit too astray.
Just a bit.
I hope that helps.
So I don't know. I think that helps. Revered Wolf was just talking about like they died and then came back into their body, wandered into the house. The mother said, "Go watch TV." She had no idea they'd been lying there dead. Like, and then Claire says, "I don't think anybody would find me dead either." And then Claire
welcome
had
to the 70s.
Yeah, welcome to the 70s. Yeah, Claire had a traumatic experience with a partner who just up and decided not to have build a life with her. Just really sad. But then I wanted to get to Sam because what she was resonating with about what you said about Capricorns was their ability to handle trauma. And she was saying, and a lot of people resonated with her, it's as if I'm at my best when severely traumatic things are happening. It's actually kind of weird. And Revered Wolf responded to Sam that that's called a survival instinct capable of critical thinking under duress. And that's like all of us are kind of in this like survival mode from, all of it. Good
Yes.
God.
Yeah. And I mean, who are we without all of that is, be careful what you wish for, because you've got to step through a doorway to realize the reality of who we are, free of the inversion. You've got to step through a doorway, and that means I don't know how to put it. It means surrendering to that feeling of overwhelm that this fight or flight's meant to manage.
And to not having a clue who you are. Like I've spent years not knowing who I am because everything that I was left.
Right.
And it's been very weird. It's like, I don't know. I hear people use this term a lot, like imposter syndrome. I think like sometimes I don't entirely understand it, but it feels like, yeah, I could relate to imposter syndrome. But I'm getting tired. I don't know about you.
Yes, it's yeah, me too. I think we all are.
You're ready.
It's a big time. So
all right.
Easter.
All right. Yeah.
Great.
Easter was a lot. It was like the slingshot. Like, okay, game on now, right? Like Easter's like, okay, shit's getting real.
Yeah, the slingshot thing. That's funny. December, the archery showed me the slingshot, and then what it slung hit April and went poof. So there's something about.
Oh, so like they did in December, hit April, catapulted to farther. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So that's why they said the intervening period up until April will seem a lot will happen, but it will seem slow as well in other ways, in the ways we want it to be. But then that changes. So, yeah,
Um,
hopefully. And yeah, the psychic questions, we can do that too. I think there's a channeling uh, phase that will come in at some point down the track. I don't know when or how, but
yeah,
I've
you
I've
felt
been get,
that.
I've been
Yep.
getting a few. I've had a few experiences that make me wonder. So yeah, psychic.
Well,
I don't know what
sometimes when
would.
I'm talking, sometimes when we're talking, I swear to God, you're channeling. I know when Sam writes things, when Sam goes on she's absolutely channeling. Like, so much gold comes out of her. Um, so I think channeling is kind of coming online with everyone because we're coming online with our true selves, right? So everything is all one. So channeling is likely a natural state, but until it's indeed a natural state, we are calling it channeling instead of just doing
Not
what we do.
doing what we do. That's it. Yeah, that's right.
Hold on one second. I want to respond to Revered Wolf, International Association of Near Death Studies. Okay. All right. We're going to hang up 3 years
That
to
was a big
conference.
part of the wake
I
up
was,
call.
what?
The number of near death experiences that happened over the last 5, 10 years.
Yes. Yes. Like I've gone to the conference 3 years in a row now. Not sure if I'm going this year, but I'd be sad if I missed it. But after 3 years, it's very often a lot of the same people. But like Revered Wolf had an NDE right here with a fascinating story they remember very vividly. And they could submit their story to Ions. Like, because Ions, a friend of mine kind of got booted from them because they're like old boy network. Like they weren't welcoming galactic information. And so they stopped her from speaking. And then another friend, they stopped her from speaking because her sexual trauma was too unsettling for them. So they're an incredibly wonderful organization who have brought a lot to NDEs and opened up the whole field everywhere. But they need to move with the changes. So,
That's the
but
thing.
God's in charge of that, not me. Nobody needs to do a thing. I'm not in charge.
Yeah, the editing, you got to be careful you got to always be willing to question your own desire to edit something. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that the need to edit it out doesn't serve a purpose, but if you're not willing to question your own motivation, then you start to go rigid.
Yes, yes, and they're very rigid. They are like do 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 do, and I love them all dearly, but yeah, I don't know if it's worth it to go to Seattle. I don't know. I just don't know. Sam just said she's had 2 NDs. Yep, yep, yep. I had an ND. Oh, you're welcome, Revered Wolf. It's look them up. They have an Instagram. They have a YouTube. They have their own website. They feature monthly NDE every month from submissions. Their conference is a lot of fun. There have been like Lori Ladd. Mike and I went to it 3 years ago and saw Lori Ladd there. So they have. Ha! Sam just said baby awake. They're totally baby awake. Like what are they doing? Like it's
Right.
so funny when you're awake and you're this awake and you talk to people and they're so awake and you get all excited and then they are wearing an Apple Watch or something. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I don't know. So okay. Oh, that was so judgmental. I apologize to anyone in the chats wearing an Apple Watch. So okay, I'm out of here. Brian, take on more work currently. Hugs, Brian. You still working with Brian? Okay, so I just like
Yes.
divulge
Yeah.
all
We
sorts of
have to
shit.
reschedule because
Okay,
Brian had
all
a
right,
problem.
cool, 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 cool. All right, love
Okay.
everybody here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Todd, and keep doing your
Thanks,
little
Todd.
car ride videos. We loved it.
Oh, Todd really felt it too. He did the Easter. Like, say it, bro.
Didn't
Just
he?
say it, man.
Didn't he though? I want Todd on my side in the end
Won't
times.
you?
Oh wait, he
Say it,
is.
brother. Yeah.
Oh wait. Mia asks, I have a question. How do I clear any distortions in my field? That's energy work.
Yeah.
Mike and Ryan's channeling is natural to us. Good chat. I love everybody in the chats.
I wish I could read it and talk, but I can't.
No, you're not allowed to. You're absolutely forbidden. Clearing distortions in the field. I think that comes with time and energy. Look up Barbara Eden for energy work. Barbara Eden's energy work is a game changer, Mia, Lisa B. Barbara Eden.
About
Yeah, she's the practices and stuff, just game changer. Talk about game
yeah.
changer. Okay, love you. Mwah.
Love you all. See ya.
Okay.